last week, news broke
You.
that news broke that Walker Jenkins has been promoted to AAA after hitting, let's see, 309, 426, 487 in 52 games in AA, walking close to 15% of the time, striking out less than 19% of the time, a 155 WRC plus. Your thoughts on the Jenkins news?
Well, first, I was happy that you broke it, because you always have intel that you don't share with anybody outside of me, I think, and probably your wife. Um,
She
but
doesn't care.
you could still share it with her, and then it was picked up by everybody shortly after that. So congratulations on that. That was super
Thanks,
cool.
buddy.
You give me the old like, oh, something's coming, and then I have to guess, and I guess Rocco was fired, and that was wrong. But it's super cool from that perspective, but also a 20-year-old who has not been consistently on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But when he has been on the field, he's been really good. Was that Sunday night that news broke, or Sunday afternoon?
I believe so, because it was the day before an off day for the Saints.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I didn't get the opportunity to watch him at all on Tuesday. I think he got a double on Wednesday, and then I turned it on last night and just watched very briefly. And the only batter that I saw, he had a really good catch in center field.
Yep.
So he looks the part of a future major leaguer, and like by future I mean soon. And he's only 20, so I feel like it's hard to not be excited by this in a franchise where watching the team on Twins TV is not overly exciting right now.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. Just a couple of other notes to build off of what you said, Jeremy. At 20 years old, he is the youngest player, bar none, currently playing in the International League. And then a couple other things that I found noteworthy when we're putting together the running order for this show. At any level that Walker Jenkins has played in at least 30 games, he's never been worse than a 30% above average for the level hitter. In other words, he's never had a WRC plus less than 130 if he's accrued a sample size of at least 30 games. Do you care at all about how he does in these final 3 or so weeks of the Saints season?
Nope. I don't, because I think the reality is that he will start 26 in AAA, and as soon as there's a need and or he's deemed ready, he's a Minnesota Twin for hopefully the next forever, right? I mean, and whether he bats 220 in this small sample size or 420, I don't think it changes the expectation or trajectory at all. He's going to be a very good major league player, assuming he can stay healthy.
Yep. And of course that's a big part of it. And I guess one last thing I want to ask you, we talked a little bit a week or so ago about the power. Mm-hmm. And I think we had said at that time, right, like his kind of the pace he was on for like a 150 game season was something like 24 home runs. And I think at that time we had said, or 22, whatever. We had said that's like a good over under for whether we would be like excited or like maybe slightly disappointed about his total power output as a pro. I guess my question that I would ask that's a little bit different this time is like, do we think he's being slept on a little bit at this point in national prospect lists? Obviously he's now had 2 consecutive seasons where he's basically missed 2 to 3 months of playing time with like muscular injuries. And of course, Twins curse for prospects, etc. You can't not be worried by that. However, given some of the stats that we cited around how good he's been at pretty much every level, youngest player in the International League at 20 years old, he's been faded on some lists down as far as like 20s and 30s. And it just feels like maybe that's a little bit low for someone who is just absolutely raked and like has a skill set that is stable. Say what you want about the power, but Walker Jenkins has proven that he will get on base no matter what. And if you have a guy who's going to get on base at a high clip, at least start his pro career with the possibility of being in center field, probably not with Byron Buxton, but also hit like 20 home runs, hit for high average, play solid defense. Like that's not an average player. That's a really good player. So our national list's fading him a little bit too much at this point, do you think?